record. Perfect. You should have got that little alert. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this edition of the Wadena County Coffee Talks. Happy to have you as always. I think I know everyone on the line, but for formality's sake, Katie Hepner, Director of the Economic Alliance, co-hosting these coffee talks along with Dean Uzelman from the Wadena Development Authority. Today, very excited to have joining us Lori Rubin from Lakes Area Habitat for Humanity. Lori's going to be sharing with us some background on Lakes Area Habitat, how communities can work with them, and what I find most exciting is more details on the project that's currently happening in Sebeka. So without further ado, Lori, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, great. Well, thank you everybody for allowing me this opportunity to come talk with you. We are very excited to talk about the project in Sebeka that we are getting very close to wrapping up. It's a home for the York family. Right now, we are looking for volunteers to help get the siding on. So if you know people who are interested in learning how to do that, you do not need to have experience. We'll take anybody and we'll teach you how to do it. So we're very, very excited to get them into their home. So then we can move on to other projects. So we also have a family in Wadena selected, the Guevara family. And they will be partnering with us this fall to build a 3-bedroom home. So it's a mom and dad and 2 girls. So we're very excited about that. We right now need to find the lot that we're going to build on. So we don't even have a location yet. But I'm already starting to kind of promote the family and speak to groups and start fundraising so that when we find that land and we're ready to go, we're ready to go. So we're excited.
Very cool. So, Lori, would you mind sharing a little bit more background on Lakes Area Habitat? What you guys do, what kind of area you cover, things like that?
Sure, absolutely. And I'm going to preface this by letting you know I started working there January 3rd. So I've had a lot to learn.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. So, and I have no background in working for a nonprofit. So it's been interesting. But we actually serve 4 counties. We are in Cass, Crow Wing, Hubbard, and Wadena counties. We have built, I believe it's 124 homes. Some of them have cycled other multiple families through. So we've served about 140 families. And the way it works is we partner with a family. They qualify for a very low, if not 0% interest mortgage with us. And they also commit to an awful lot of sweat equity. And we place them in the home as they help us, partner alongside of us to build it, place them in the home with a mortgage payment that is not to exceed 25% of their income. So it is truly affordable housing with a home ownership, giving them the opportunity to build some wealth. And yeah, it's very, very exciting.
Very cool. So with that large of an area, how do you recruit your volunteers for the different projects to help with building the homes? You had mentioned you're in need of siding volunteers right now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find these people, I guess, these volunteers?
Well, people in general are pretty awesome. So we have a huge list of volunteers basically that we send weekly emails out to. We recruit through social media, churches, civic groups, businesses. Each community is a little different on how we find our volunteers, and we have a volunteer coordinator person that's kind of helping to keep in touch with people. So anybody can get on the list and see when there is an opportunity to help, and then they can join us.
So I guess my next question for you is, you're wrapping up this project in Sebeka, but going back in time, how did you even get started in Sebeka? How did that relationship, did the city reach out to you? How did you choose Sebeka and that family?
So sure, I didn't work for Habitat at the time, but we do have a family selection process. As a matter of fact, towards the end of April, we are hosting 4 family application meetings where we do invite people who are interested in coming to a meeting to get an application and learn the process. And so this particular family, this is where they wanted to live. So we were working with them in partnership with them to suit their needs.
I can give a little bit of background on how we connected. We had lots available in our Northern Acres estate, and I don't know, I was just kind of thinking about what we could use those for, and I thought of Habitat. So it was a couple years ago, I had just sent an email to Kevin and asked him if Habitat would ever consider coming to Sebeka. And then he contacted me and said they used to be in Wadena County, but they hadn't been for some time, and felt it was an appropriate amount of time in between whatever happened then to now. And so started the process of getting permission from Habitat International to move into Wadena County. So it was a bit of a process to get to this point. But then we had a public meeting and people came in and filled out applications, and then the York family was selected. So,
well, thank you, Cheryl, for doing that background work to get, Lakes Area Habitat in our community. And now, Lori mentioned they're going to be doing a project in Wadena. So thanks, Cheryl. That's an awesome story. Lori, another question for you. If I were a community, like Cheryl and Sebeka, and I think, hey, we have a housing need, want to work with Habitat, what would kind of be the steps in that? You mentioned the family application process. What does that look like?
Sure. So the family application is, one piece of it. As a matter of fact, we're up in Cass Lake right now having a meeting talking about their need for housing. And there are a lot of people at a table trying to come up with the best solutions. So the Habitat model works really, really well to build houses at an affordable cost, because a lot of places are finding that they'll build a house and it doesn't even appraise, that people can't finance them because of appraisals and things. So it really starts with conversations about figuring out what the needs are, where there's some availability to place the houses, and then the families then apply. They have to just show a willingness to partner with us, put in some sweat equity, and they have to demonstrate that they have the ability to pay, and that their current housing situation is either unaffordable or unsafe or unhealthy. And then once we approve them, we just start working with promoting the family and promoting the build and fundraising for it. So, yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to share about Lakes Area Habitat that we haven't touched on already?
Oh, I mean, I could talk for hours about how wonderful it is. So,
yeah.
I mean, really, it's great. If you ever come to the Brainerd Lakes area, I invite you to stop in and see our restore. We have a very generous community that donates, building supplies, furniture, things like that, where we take them in, prevent them from going into the landfill, and then we sell them. And that restore actually funds our salaries, our keeping the lights on, things like that. So then when somebody actually makes a donation to us to build a house, their donation is actually going towards building the house. So we're very, very proud of that. The houses we build are beautiful. And yeah, I wish we could do way more. So we do have a goal right now. It's been an average of about 5 houses a year. And we have a goal to get to 10, possibly 12 a year within the next year or two. So
wow.
Yes.
Wow. And, we've talked a lot on these coffee talks about the housing need in Wadena County. Are you, there's just such a big need for those single family, affordable homes. Are you seeing that across all the counties and communities that you work in right now?
Yes, absolutely. Housing stock has either been purchased by people who are renting them out. So landlords have acquired them. A lot of people are choosing to age in place. And so they're staying in their homes longer. And so that's housing stock is not free for people to purchase. So, you've got some great programs that maybe have consequences that you wouldn't really think about. But yeah, absolutely. The need for affordable home ownership is huge right now, for sure, across all 4 of our counties.
Well, I want to open it up to the group. Do any of you have any questions for Lori? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hey, there I am. Lori, thanks for your work. I am somebody who has visited the Restore often, and I've also helped with some projects.
Wonderful.
And I just think that ownership piece, the way you have your model set up, I mean, to have the owners working with you to do things, and they're appreciative of your help, and to have that home ownership piece become available to them, I think is pretty important work in developing our community. So I just wanted to encourage people to be involved with that, and thank you for your work.
Great.
So good stuff.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bart. Any other questions or comments for Lori? Feel free to unmute. Cheryl Hahn, do you have anything else you want to share from your perspective of working with Habitat, from the city perspective of it?
I would like to see more happen here in the city of Sebeka. I know we have additional lots, some that are owned by the city, some are privately owned. So I need to learn more how to connect Habitat with those private owners. But no, I just think it's a great program, and I'm really glad that they were able to move into Wadena County. I think it's a real benefit to us.
Definitely. Thanks, Cheryl. And Lori, did you see the comment from Stephanie about sharing your contact information?
I'm adding it now.
Perfect. Well, she does that. Any other questions or comments? Feel free to unmute. Going once. Oh, Matthew.
Hey, this is Matthew with the and this is probably for Cheryl as well. My memory is a little bit short on the process with the York family. I'm just kind of curious as to when did that process get going, and forgive me if that's already been mentioned.
I'm thinking we started working with Habitat in 2019, and then it probably took until 2020, maybe 2021. 2020, I think they applied. We had public hearing down at the Sebeka Event Center. People came in and learned about the application process, and then they went through the verifications with Habitat that didn't go through the city, but Habitat worked with them to get verified and made sure they qualified, and went through their family selection process, and then the build started last year. And I think maybe there's been a few delays because of COVID, but yeah. But I think the city reached out. It might have been December of 2018 when I reached out to Kevin to start the process.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Feel free to unmute. Going once. Going twice. All right, well, Lori, thank you so much for joining us this morning for this little chat. I really appreciate you making the time, and so excited about what you've done in Sebeka and what you're going to be doing in Wadena. Hoping to see you guys around the county for many years moving forward with projects.
Yes, me too, and we'll definitely keep you in the loop. But thank you so much for having me.
Yes, all right, and feel free to log on or log off if you gotta head to your log off or stay on.
Yeah. I'll log off. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Lori.
All right, bye.
All right, moving along on our agenda, David Heyer from Deed. I see you joined us this morning.
Morning, Katie. How you guys doing? Some real quick updates from the state. I've been discussing SSBCI, which is a federally funded program that we've been waiting for to kick off. We thought it might happen in Q2 of this year, but it looks like it might be pushed back to Q3. We're waiting for our application to be approved by the federal government. That would roll out some new loan programs for small businesses in Minnesota. We're not at a liberty to really discuss what those programs are right now because we could have a discussion, but those programs could change between now and then, depending on the application process and what the federal government wants us to do. So, but there is some funding set aside for companies that are automating their facilities, but can't find the employees to, they're not going to increase employees, but just automate to fill in the gaps that they're having. So there's some funding that's going to be set aside for that in the near future, hopefully in the near future. We've got a couple of projects we're working on, one in Todd County with Rick Utech. We haven't, the company was looking at a building last week in Todd County, did a site visit, and we were waiting to, on their response to that visit and what they want to do the next step. We sent out state received a large request for information, RFP or RFI, for Project Epsilon, which is a electric vehicle battery manufacturing plant. This is a 500-acre facility that had large water and large electrical use needs and a large employment base. They're looking for 3,500 employees with rail access and deep water port access, which the only one that I know of in our area is probably the Duluth area, or they have some limited access to that. So that RFI went out last week to some select communities that we thought might have that kind of infrastructure in place. I didn't think of anything in Wadena or Staples County, Staples area that would qualify. So that's why you guys didn't see it. But if you want a copy of it, I'd be happy to send it to you.
We're not known for our port access here in Wadena County. We have many great things about our community, but that is not one of them.
Well, and that's one of the things that came up. It says proximity to deep port. So we're asking what proximity means. But the the RFIs are due back by Wednesday afternoon of this week. So not a lot of time to jump on board and try to fill that out. But as the rest of the state is going, we're seeing a lot of activity in the West Central region. A lot of projects, a lot of delayed projects. Projects want to get started, but because of this supply chain issues that we're having with equipment and building materials, projects that want to start this year are getting delayed until next year because the building materials are just not there, and the lead time for the equipment is so far out that they're not able to jump on board of that this year. So we still have a lot of activity. It's just sort of a wait and see if we can get it in the ground this year type of attitude right now. So that's it from the state level. Of course, we're still waiting for, the state legislature and their meetings. I think they're due to wrap up hopefully by the end of May if everything goes right and we don't have a extended session, a special session. We'll see what happens with that in our budgets and what we're going to be looking at for Job Creation Fund, the Minnesota Investment Fund, Angel Tax Credit Program, the BDPI program, those types of programs. So we're waiting patiently for the state legislature and the House and the Senate to come together and make some decisions for us. That's it from the state level. Thank you.
Thanks, David. I echo your hopes of hopefully it doesn't have to go into special or extended. Yeah. Hopefully some decisions are able to be made, and that Deed and the other departments who run programs know what they're working with, know the budgets for the next year. That'd be nice. All right, any questions for David? All right, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Looking to see who else is on the line today. Joel, would you mind sharing your update from Tri-County?
Happy to. Good morning, Katie, and good morning, everyone else. Regarding COVID, say the news continues to be mostly good. Things are certainly manageable locally from just about every perspective. I'd say about as close as back to old normal as possible, and maybe what we'll ever see as normal here in our operations. We still have a few visitor restrictions, and we still have masking requirements for visitors and staff and patients in our patient care areas, which are being driven by directives from the CDC and the Minnesota Department of Health. So once in a while we get a little frustration from people about, well, why do I have to mask here but not at every other place in town? Well, that's healthcare still is being treated a little bit uniquely in this, and a little bit of caution. A little bit of we've seen an uptick in total COVID hospitalizations in the state over this past weekend. So there's a little trepidation on that right now, but it's at a very manageable level at this point in time. So we just want to hope that doesn't turn into something more than it appears to be right now. So that's all I'd like to say on COVID. Thankfully, we can be focusing on other things. For us, the other big focus, of course, is our building project. We are 353 days away, so within a year of our move-in date, which is set for March 24th of 2023. And the project continues to go very well. Say we happen to hit the supply chain almost at the best time possible here in our COVID world. So we haven't had any delays associated with product delivery, and have probably hit the pricing about as well as we could have with that situation. I'd say the biggest thing that we'll see around the community here as the weather improves and we actually get out of winter into spring construction conditions, we will see outside work happening around the site, which includes the Greenwood Avenue project that's being run by Darren Feldbaum and the folks at Wadena County, working in conjunction with the city and their crews regarding the utility project. So Greenwood will have a significant amount of work happening throughout the spring, summer, and fall this year. And we will see 11th Street, or what will become County State Aid Highway 92 and its connection to US Highway 10 at our site will also be undergoing construction at the intersection for the 4 or 5 blocks north of the intersection to access our site, and some work on Highway 10 associated with turn lanes and bypass lanes. So be a fair amount of disruption out in the northwest part of town as we go out through the summer. So just caution for everybody to plan a little extra time or maybe alternate route and be careful and safe around that. And then working collaboratively with city and county and MnDOT as they put their plan together for the 4-lane expansion through Wadena, which of course also has a bearing on what's going on with our project. So, and then lastly, I'm maybe going to turn it over to Ryan. I wasn't sure if that was our Ryan that was on to talk about a event coming tomorrow night for Tri-County.
Yeah, thank you, Joel. So those, if you guys have seen our Facebook post the last couple of days, Tri-County is excited. We're partnering tomorrow night with Drastic Measures and Oma's Bakery right here in Wadena. So we're doing a fundraising event over at Drastics from 3 to 10 Tuesday night. So if you're in the area, they're doing a special meal for us. So it'll be fettuccine Alfredo with a salad, and then the dessert will be coming from Oma's. They have 200 of those meals planned, $15, so it's a pretty good meal. So come on out. And of course, we love these events because Drastic is extremely generous that they'll give us 50% of the proceeds from the food and the beer. We're going to have some volunteers from our Gemini circle out there helping to do the serving tomorrow. And so you might even see Joel. I think George, our mayor, might be there, and some others as well from the community. So it'll be a fun night. And again, then all the tips will come back. And again, the Gemini Circle is leading this as we've received a $150,000 Otto Bremer Trust grant last spring. And so now is the time we're reaching out to community members to be able to join us in that efforts to do that as a matching challenge grant. So we'll have information there tonight. If you can't make it tomorrow night, reach out to me again, Ryan at Tri-County. But we're really excited. So we're hoping to pack that brewery tomorrow night, keep things rocking downtown Wadena from 3 to 10 tomorrow. So that's what I got for you guys. Thank you, Joel.
Thanks, Ryan. So that's what I've got today, Katie, unless there's any questions from anybody.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Joel and Ryan. That sounds like a delicious event. You've got my stomach rumbling at 11:30 thinking about it. Ryan, would you mind providing a little bit of background for folks who don't know, what is the Gemini group?
Yeah, so the Gemini Circle, what it is, so again, this is a community group that people can join with gifts of $100 or more on an annual basis. And so the Gemini Circle is really an opportunity to be able to give back to a really great project like the building project. The funds that we raise this year and next year will go towards new equipment in our labor and delivery areas, as well as our emergency department. So the funds, and each year, those gifts that we receive will go to different parts of equipment that the committee looks at and says, hey, where else do we need for needs within our facility and with our programs. So again, it's a truly tremendous element to that Gemini Circle. And then also with that, we also get to do special things like exclusive tours. And so on August 1st, we'll be doing a tour specifically for those Gemini Circle members to be able to come out and see kind of that behind the scenes look of what's going on out there with the project. So that'll be one of our very first ones. And we usually do about 2 to 3 events a year with this Gemini Circle. So it's a really fun group to be a part of.
Thanks for sharing that background and context.
Yep.
Any other questions for Joel or Ryan? Feel free to unmute. I did see that, was it Taylor put a link in the chat where you can find updates on the building projects with really cool time-lapse videos. So check those out if you haven't seen them yet. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you both for logging on today and sharing with us. Just looking around the virtual room to see who else is here. Lillian, I see you logged on from Lead for Minnesota. I know you're working on, I want to say it's an arts and culture plan for Wadena. Would you mind sharing a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I can share some on that. So it's very preliminary, but I'm trying to get a committee together to start an arts and culture plan for the city of Wadena. So what that means is, I don't know if any of you have familiarized yourself with arts and culture plans for other cities, but what it essentially boils down to is it's a plan that includes implementation strategies for increasing the creative economies for cities. It is a document that shows all of the current artistic and cultural assets that a community has. And it is also a way to engage the community in a really fun planning process. I'm hearing feedback from community members, as well as just getting them energized and helping them see what assets the community holds and letting them know about the cool people that are already there and the cool businesses that are already there. So very early on in the process, but I'm really excited to get going and start creating this document for the city of Wadena.
Great, thanks so much for sharing that today, Lillian. I think it's the perfect time to start, energizing, collaborating around arts, culture, and how that connects to economic development as we come out of the winter. I know I'm interested in, connecting more with folks and seeing what else is going on. And as we all kind of continue to come out of the long COVID time, it's a great time for that initiative. Really appreciate the work you're doing. All right, just looking around, I'll open it up. Does anyone have any updates they'd like to share from their own organization? Feel free to unmute.
Me again. Just looking at Sourcewell, I do serve the Wadena Deer Creek schools as a career consultant. And we are looking, one of the programs we have at Sourcewell is a teacher externship program. So we'll put teachers out on over the summer on a job experience in a local business. and we'll pay them for a week, and the business provides an experience. So I'm looking at placing, I got a teacher in Sebeka right now I'm looking to place, and a science teacher from Wadena Deer Creek. And I'm actually hoping, I see Verndale got a solar grant to put some panels up, and we placed a teacher in some a solar installing firm, and they have an education part of it. So trying to give those hands-on learning opportunities to teachers. So that's kind of one of the things going on. And the other piece is I'm talking to sophomores this week to encourage them to get summer jobs. I think that hasn't been happening a lot. So I just really look at, you know, the benefits of getting a job, some of the things they've got to watch, you know, and keep in check. But that's really important, I think, to give them that opportunity and hold that up. The other piece of that is Bridges, the Brainerd Chamber, they do have a job site that businesses can post jobs for free for those 16-year-old plus students. So all you have to do is go onto their site, into the, they call it the Career Depot, and you can post a job for free. And then as I'm working with students to say, hey, there are some jobs available, I'm encouraging them to get out and take a look at some of that stuff. And then Stenoff, she's been works the same program with me. I know she's up in Monaga. If you have anything to say, you certainly can add to that.
Good morning. No, I don't necessarily have anything to add. I was thankful for Lori's contact information, and I will reach out to her individually with specific questions. But thanks for having us.
Thanks. And I would mention too, I've been working with career clusters for those 9th and 10th graders. A lot of interest in healthcare, which Ryan, you might perk your interest a little bit. There is health and human services is a huge area of interest right now. So we just got to figure out how to get information to those students. So
I see Bart Taylor just posted in the chat, Tri-County is bringing back their summer student internship program. So maybe Bart and Steph, that might be something you want to promote to the students you work with, especially if they're interested in healthcare. All right, and I just want to add, I also really appreciate you promoting 16-year-old plus to go out and apply for jobs this summer. You know, as we're all navigating this workforce shortage, it'd be great if there was a influx of, you know, young people ready to work, willing to work, because the businesses need it. All right, any other updates that people want to share with the group? Not seeing anyone on mute. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We're ending a little bit early, which I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed about. Our next coffee talk will be April 18th at 11 a.m. I look forward to seeing you all then. And as always, in the meantime, feel free to reach out with any economic development questions or even comments. All right, take care, everyone.